All right, good morning, everyone. My name is Shantae Alvarez-Minor, and I serve as the Director of Graduate Recruitment and Student Success. So thank you so much for joining this morning to learn a little bit more about how to fund your graduate education and joining us this week for the Graduate Virtual Showcase. It's great to see so many returners. I do have my chat screen open on one of my other computer screens. So if you do have a question while I'm talking, I do want to make this as interactive as possible. And I don't want you to have to feel like you've got to wait till the very end to answer or ask your question. So definitely feel free as we are going through this presentation today that you pop questions over into the chat. I'll do my best to continue to kind of keep monitoring that so that way I can answer those questions for you. All right, so when we're looking at how to fund your graduate education, there are several options available for you as students to fund your graduate education. The most kind of prevalent, or the ones that students think about the most, are going to be those teaching assistantships and research assistantships. Those are typically tied to PhD students, although we do have teaching assistantships that we have available for some master's students. Then we also have fellowships. Fellowships can be for both master's and PhD students. Then we also offer scholarships for all graduate students. And then there are also loan options as well. So let's look at some different opportunities for students coming to their Jonsson School. All right, so first, let's look at those teaching and research assistantships. So a research assistantship is going to be a individual research award that is funded to a student, and it's typically funded by their principal investigator. So that means their department, their PI, their advisor. They're the ones that are funding those research. However, for those that were able to attend the session on Monday morning, you got a chance to hear from Dean Adams, and we're looking at some ways of revamping our funding for our research assistantships as well as our teaching assistantships. We're trying to figure out a different ways of funding our students, still funding them exactly the same, but providing better funding opportunities to more students essentially is what we're looking for. And so how are some ways that we can do that to make sure that our PhD students are funded? So research assistantships are going to go towards PhD students. For this funding, we cover 100% of your tuition and fees. We pay you a monthly living stipend. And then we also cover your healthcare insurance. So this is going to be for both research and teaching assistantships. Students are required to work a minimum of 20 hours, a maximum of 20 hours a week for the research and teaching assistantships. For research assistantships, you are working for a faculty member. For teaching assistantships, you might still be working for a faculty member, or you could be working for the department. And again, that's a maximum of 20 hours a week. Typically, those are going to be on classes, and you're paid right now. Again, Dean Adams talked to you guys on Monday, but right now those are being funded by the department. So those are the two options. For a research assistantship, this is where you need to match with an advisor. So it's really important. Again, I kind of mentioned this in the beginning before I started the recording, but for those of you that are on the call, if you're a PhD prospective graduate student, please send me an email, and I'll just actually pop my email again into the chat. I'm not sure if you guys can all see it. So just to be safe, I'll just pop it into the chat really fast again. But send me an email, and I have a list of all of the advisors for all of the graduate programs, and then their research areas, as well as their contact information. So you'll want to spend some time reviewing those faculty members, the research areas, and then send them some emails. For the teaching assistantships, you're going to need to reach out to your departments because for those, some of our departments within the Eric Jonsson School have teaching assistantship applications. Those typically will open up about mid-January. Some of the departments you're automatically considered for a teaching assistantship as a PhD candidate. Some of them you're not. So you'll want to check with your individual graduate department to determine whether or not the teaching assistantship is going to be a separate application, or if you're automatically considered for it and they don't have a separate application. Again, I'm always happy to be a resource for the students. So if you're unsure or you're unable to get a hold of somebody or you're not able to get the answer that you need, definitely reach out to me, because I can let you know which departments are the ones that require or have the application, and then which of them just have one, just as a candidate or an application, you're automatically considered. Okay, so if you're not a PhD student and you're looking for other funding opportunities, or actually also PhD students can look for additional funding opportunities to stack on top of. Sometimes some of the scholarships or fellowships are stackable, which means that you can add them to what your current support is that you're getting. Some of them are in conjunction with, which means that they're only going to help fund you up to the same amount as another PhD student. So they're not stackable. They're just there to add to what you already have. But here are some additional Jonsson School graduate fellowships that we offer and that we partner with. So we have the McDermott Graduate Fellows. We are part of the Smart DoD Fellowship. We also have the NSF Fellowship and then the National GEM Consortium. So let's look at those individually. The first one is the McDermott Fellowship. So the McDermott Fellowship is a 12-month stipend of about $37,000. It covers your health insurance. It provides your tuition and fees, or covers your tuition and fees. And then you also get a discretionary research budget of about $10,000. Usually for this discretionary research budget, this is where students can potentially buy lab equipment that they might need, or if there's any materials that they need to purchase for their particular research project. This allows them to have the funds, especially if the department doesn't have the additional funds. So if you needed a particular resource for your research and your department didn't have the funds to cover that, this is where this discretionary research budget would come into play. And then it also provides professional development as well as other enrichment opportunities for you. One thing I should mention is that the McDermott Fellowship is not something that students can apply to. So this is something that your PI or advisor needs to submit your name to. So it has to come from a faculty or staff member, and they're the ones that nominate you for this McDermott Fellowship. So if you are interested in this fellowship, this is typically a fellowship that's tied to academic rigor. So if you are a high achieving academic student and you think you meet the qualifications for this, this would be a conversation that you could definitely have with your advisor or PI, your department, to see if they would recommend you or nominate you for the McDermott Fellowship. Another fellowship that we offer, and I've started, and then on these next couple of ones, you'll see I have added QR codes for you all. So if you qualify or you meet the eligibility standard, definitely feel free to scan that QR code. And of course, I should put this out there that I am happy to share this PowerPoint presentation afterwards, so that way you have access to all the QR codes as well as all of the funding opportunities I'm sharing with you today. So the next one is the Smart DoD Fellowship. For the Smart DoD Fellowship, it covers 100% your tuition and fees. It does also provide you an annual stipend, and it's roughly between $30,000 to $46,000. It depends on the degree level. I always tell students typically that $30,000 is going to be for the master's students and or undergraduate students, and then typically the $46,000 is going to be for the PhD students. They do this fellowship does come with summer internship opportunities and then guaranteed employment. So with this, if you become a SMART scholar, you are guaranteed a job after you graduate. So whether that's master's or PhD, the eligibility requirements are that you do have to be a citizen of the US, Australia, Canada, New Zealand, or the United Kingdom. This is where each of these countries is where there are DoD facilities located. So for those students that are eligible, the neat thing is that we do have past SMART scholars who've been able to travel outside of the United States to one of these other countries and work at a DoD facility. You do need to be 18 years of age or older by January 1st. And then you have to have and maintain a 3.0. And then these are for STEM programs. So as long as your graduate program is a STEM program, you are eligible. Our next fellowship that we offer is the NSF Fellowship. So this is the NSF Graduate Research Fellowship. For this fellowship, it is a 5-year fellowship, and it's with 3 years of financial support. The annual stipend is about $37,000, and then it covers the cost of tuition of about $16,000, and there's no post-study service that's required afterwards. So there's no, you have to do something afterwards in order to be eligible for it. This one does also have an eligibility requirement. So you can be a U.S. citizen, national, or permanent resident, or green card holder. You do have to be a full-time student in an eligible research-based master's or doctoral degree. So it's for both master's and doctoral students. You need to make sure that you've never received or declined the Graduate Research Fellowship. So if at any point in time you were offered multiple fellowships and you declined this one, you would not be eligible to reapply for it again at a later date and time. The other thing with this is that this particular fellowship, unlike some of the other ones, is that you have to be basically a new student. You have to have completed at least 1 year. It needs to be under 1 year. So typically this is a great fellowship for somebody who might have started in the spring and they've only completed a semester of graduate work. They would still be eligible, but you can't have done a year of graduate work. So it has to be less than a year in order for you to be eligible for this program. Many of these scholarships and fellowships are going on right now. Their applications have opened, and a lot of them, their applications are closing relatively soon. So you're going to want to make sure, especially if you are a graduate or if you're a PhD student and you're looking to apply for additional fellowship opportunities, that you're applying right away. Or if you're a master's student as well, you want to make sure that you're applying right away. The next funding opportunity is the National GEM Consortium. So for the National GEM Consortium, this is an employer fellowship that is also kind of linked with the universities. So for this particular employer fellowship, this is good for both master's and PhD students. So you can see the eligibility requirements there. This comes with a guaranteed internship over the summer. For master's students, you would do 2 internships over the summer. For a PhD student, you only do 1 internship, but it does come with a $16,000 stipend that's paid to the student. For a master's student, because you don't have any additional funding, the $16,000 is just paid to you in increments of $4,000 per semester. For the PhD student, this is a stipend that's paid $16,000 to you, but it is not stackable with your current funding. So if you're funded as a TA or an RA, this would supplement your payment. So essentially, you would get paid the $16,000. And then the department would reduce the amount of how much they pay you as a TA or RA. So this is just up to the same amount as another PhD student, but you do get the internship. This also covers 100% tuition and fees. So as a master's student, for up to 2 years, your tuition and fees would be covered 100% by the GEM University, which would be us. So UT Dallas would cover 100% of your tuition and fees for 2 years, and you would get paid $4,000 a semester for 4 semesters. So basically it's fall, spring, fall, and spring. And then as a PhD student, you would get paid the $16,000 over just the first year, because PhDs programs are a little bit longer. So we pay the $8,000 in fall, the $8,000 in spring. And then your department would basically come up with the rest of the money for the remainder of your academic career. But we would pay your tuition and fees for up to 5 years. I'm just going to quickly see and make sure that I don't have any questions. Okay. All right. Again, if those that have joined late, if you have a question, and please feel free to pop it into the chat. I am monitoring the chat on my other screen. Oops, I am monitoring the chat on my other screen. So, so definitely feel free to put it into the chat. Okay, so let's look at some scholarships. So those are some different, okay, so somebody just put, how does one apply to the National GEM Consortium? There's a QR code right there. So that QR code actually takes you directly to the application page. You have to create for most of these, I would say, I think you have to create like an account. So you would create an account and you would just complete the application there on the website. So I've provided the QR codes that take you directly to the website. Again, for anyone that came in late, just know that I'm happy to share this presentation afterwards, so that way you have all the funding opportunities at your fingertips. Okay, so let's look at the next one, scholarships. So we offer internal and external scholarships. So for the internal and external scholarships, for the internal scholarship, this would be specific to the Jonsson School. We have a Dean Scholarship that is a merit-based scholarship, and it's awarded every fall semester to incoming graduate students. So this scholarship is always awarded on a rolling basis, and students are definitely encouraged to apply early. And I apologize because I just realized that I forgot to put the QR code for this page on here. So I will be sure to update that for everybody after the fact. So I apologize about that, but I'll send you that direct link that provides all the additional scholarships. They typically open around January 15th as well. We say the deadline is May 17th, but because this is awarded on a rolling basis, most of the time, the money has already been allocated by early to mid-April. So please keep that in mind. The deadline is just if there's any funds remaining. However, it almost always runs out sooner, because it is, as students become eligible, we award them, and we don't wait till the very end. So it's not one of those things where we wait till May 17th and then start awarding students. We're awarding students as they become eligible. So just keep that in mind for the Dean Scholarship, but that one doesn't open right away. That one opens in like middle of January. And then there's also scholarships, external scholarships, and I'm actually going to share more information on those, and there's going to be QR codes. So let's look at some other ones. I should also mention, because I'm not entirely sure, but if I have international students on the call, and you're visiting us from either maybe another institution or from out of country, just know that there are scholarships on here that are eligible for international students. So if I put U.S. citizen, those are the ones that are only available for U.S. citizen. If I did not put U.S. citizen on the scholarship, that's because it's open to all students. So I should have mentioned that, and I apologize. For our internal Dean Scholarship, this is open to all students, regardless of domestic or international. And there are some additional scholarship opportunities as well that are open to all students. Okay, so this is the Last Mile Education Fund. So here's another scholarship opportunity. The Last Mile Education Fund, I should mention, is available to all students. What's nice with this particular application or funding opportunity, is that it's kind of like what the name says. It's the last mile. So if you are, it's not typically awarded to students at the beginning of their educational career. It's awarded typically at the end. So if you are a student who has started your program and you're finding it difficult to meet the financial needs, maybe it's because it's out of state tuition and fees, which tends to be almost double the amount of an in-state student. Maybe it's the fact that the lab equipment or your books are costing too much. So this is typically like once you've started, but I did want to provide this to you because in this QR code, if you scan this QR code, there are additional funding or grant opportunities on this site. But this is available for 4-year students. So it says 4-year, but really it's 2-year or 4-year students enrolled at a U.S. Institution. So any grad student, master's or PhD, that are looking for additional funding opportunities to help ensure that they stay in school. What we don't want is we don't want you to stop out because of a financial need. So this would be a scholarship that's based on financial need, not academic merit. So you would have to provide documentation to show that you have a financial need. But there are a lot of grant opportunities here to help support students with a varying amount of things that students need. So whether it's housing costs or tuition and fees. So what I like about this particular education fund is that it's not necessarily just geared towards tuition and fees, because although tuition and fees is a significantly large portion of your educational journey, it's all of the other smaller expenses that can really sometimes make or break an educational experience or challenges for students. So if you think about the fact that it's groceries, it's housing, it's maybe vehicle, it's your books, it's your just your utilities. So all of those things like this, where you don't really think about it because, or maybe as an institution, we don't necessarily always consider it because we're looking only at tuition and fees. This particular fund will cover all of those additional things. Again, you do have to show that you have a financial need and open to all students. Okay, so this is our new AIM S&E Career Development program, scholarship program. This is one of the rare opportunities that's only for master's students. So as a PhD student, you are not eligible for this scholarship at all. This is only for masters. And then you do kind of have to fall in one of those areas that are listed below. And this is a joint scholarship program with our school, the Jonsson School, as well as NSM, so the School of Natural Sciences and Math. Definitely scan this QR code. It is brand new. We just got approved for this I think 4 days ago. We just got the funding for it. So scan that QR code. It'll give you more information about it and how to apply. Okay, next, we have UT Dallas has a scholarships and fellowships platform. This QR code will take you to Artemis, which is our platform. And this is where you can access scholarship and fellowship opportunities at UT Dallas. This is a wide range of scholarship and fellowship opportunities for both international and domestic students. It's a great system. Once you log into it, you do have to, this would be something that you would do after the fact because you have to have your UT Dallas, your UTD number. So this is not something that you can do ahead of time as a non-applicant. This is for students who have already applied. But it'll give you a list. You can search different applications. You can search based on your school. You can search based on your degree, and it'll give you a list of scholarships that you can apply for, and you can submit the applications and easily submit the materials that are required for it. So this is definitely a great resource that opens up a wider range of funding opportunities for you. So I highly, highly recommend that as graduate students, that you are applying for all funding opportunities. Don't limit yourself and say, well, I'm only going to look for a research assistantship. Sometimes what will happen, especially as PhD students, is that if you can find external funding, we can get you started right away. We can get you a PI. Because then if they don't have to financially support you that first year, maybe they'll have funding in 6 months, maybe they'll have funding in a year, but we can get you started. That's ultimately what we want to try to do for our students, is get them in right away. Especially if they're able to come in with their own funding opportunities versus you having to pay out of pocket. Okay, we still have more. So there are additional external scholarships and fellowships. So there are 3 opportunities here. Again, I've provided QR codes for you. You don't have to, you can scan these or shoot me an email, and I'm happy to share this presentation with you. Most of these sites are going to require you to set up an account. But there are literally thousands of scholarship opportunities for both domestic and international students, both in master's and PhD programs. Some of these scholarships are small. Some of them are like $500. Some of them are $2,500, and some of them are, $10,000. So I would encourage you all to, you're going to have to put some work in to find some extra money to help fund your graduate degree. But this is a great resource. These are great resources for you to find additional scholarship opportunities. And then next, I am going to put in here that there are loans that obviously students can take out that can help fund their graduate degree. There is the grad school FAFSA eligibility. FAFSA is a federal program, which means that then it's only eligible for U.S. citizens. But as a U.S. citizen, you are able to apply for, you are able to complete your FAFSA. The one nice thing about completing a FAFSA is that it can show financial need. Some scholarships require a FAFSA on file. You will be awarded funds, but you don't have to take them out, or you don't have to take out all of it. So I have had in the past where students will apply for complete the FAFSA as a U.S. citizen, and then they don't take out any of the funds, but by showing that financial need, then they qualify for a bunch of different scholarships or fellowships that are for financial need. Or they do the FAFSA, and then they are able to take out only what they need. So just a little bit at a time, just to help bridge whatever gap they might need financially. So this is always an option for students. Then there are obviously other different loans that we have available as well. With the FAFSA, you can do work study. So as a master's student, if you are able to show a financial need, you would qualify for work study. Work study is basically, it's a part-time, so up to 20 hours, where you can work in a department outside of your graduate department as a work study student. So there are lots of different opportunities if you decide if a loan would be an option for you. Okay, so that's all I have for funding. So I've provided you a lot of links, a lot of QR codes and opportunities of different funding that's available for you as graduate students at UT Dallas, and then also externally. I want to remind you of our agenda that we have for the remainder of today. So Wednesday, today at 10 a.m., we do have a material science information session. Tomorrow, we have an international session that starts at 9 a.m., where you'll get to meet with our Office of International Student Scholars. And then our Office of Graduate Education is following that at 10:30. And then Friday morning, we have our graduate student panel at 9 a.m., where you can hear and learn from current graduate students, both masters and PhDs, of their experience as being a UT Dallas student, and then ask them questions. And then, of course, we have our social media. Definitely follow us on social media. As I get more information about different funding opportunities, I always put them on here. Of course, on our YouTube channel will be the recording of this. So if you want to watch the recording afterwards or share it with a friend, that will be available on our YouTube channel. Of course, we have our LinkedIn, where we'll be posting different resources on X and then on Instagram. And then, of course, last but not least, is the application fee waiver, making sure that I am continuing to provide this information. Please note that any form received before the last session on Friday, so any form received before 10 a.m. on Friday is going to be denied. The whole point of the application fee waiver is that you're coming to the sessions, so you can't answer all the questions until you've either watched or attended the session. So please make sure that if you are, and also you do need to submit an application in order to complete the application fee waiver, because it does require an application number, or you need to have started an application because it does require the application number. The biggest thing is that just note that this is only valid for 2026. And so the 2026 academic term, it only applies to the standard $75 application fee. So if you apply late and you miss the application deadline, that it's not going to cover that. You do need to have this form submitted by October 24th. October 24th is not an application deadline by any means. October 24th is just 2 weeks after this event. By having it submitted by essentially 2 weeks after this event, then I can just make sure that I have time to process them, because I will review every application that comes in individually to determine its eligibility. And so if you are eligible, you'll receive an email saying you're eligible. If I deny it, you'll receive why it was denied, and then and you'll receive that as well. However, once you have that approval from me, you have until, sometimes for some of our master students, you have until March to apply, right? So and really for our PhDs, you have until about December 1st. If you apply afterwards, you can still use the application fee waiver to waive your application fee. It just won't waive your late fee. So you'll have a late fee that will be assessed to your account that you will be responsible for. So if you do have any questions about this, definitely feel free that you reach out to me and send me an email. All right. Well, thank you guys. Again, thank you so much for joining us this morning. I really appreciate all of you on the call. I will go ahead and open it up now for questions. So if you have any questions, you can definitely feel free to pop it into the chat. I'm going to stop sharing, and we'll answer any questions. If anyone has questions, definitely ask them. If you don't, that's okay. You are free to go, and we will hopefully see you this afternoon or later this morning if you're interested in material science program information session. If not, then we will see you back bright and early tomorrow morning for our international session or our Office of Graduate Education session.
Yes, Ms. Shandy, I have a question.
Yeah, sure.
Yes, so I'm ready to, I have pretty much everything in handy for the application to be get done. So
Mm-hmm.
hopefully, by the end of this month, I'm gonna make my application submitted for the PhD program for the 2026 fall. So Is there any possibility that we can do it together? Like, I might be needed some assistance in doing in the application procedure.
Do you mean, I'm trying to make sure I understand. Are you saying that you want to set up a call where I'm on the call with you while you're completing the application?
Yes, I would very happy though if I miss some of the criteria things like that means you can navigate me through each and every step. Like it's a quick. I don't want to take much longer period, but like just like 10-15 minutes of video that helps me with your valuable inputs. So in putting up the application pretty much very well.
Yeah, okay. So I am happy to do that. However, I will encourage you to go ahead and start the application. It's pretty simple. It's a
Okay.
pretty much a demographic application.
Mm-hmm.
You're actually just completing your demographic information.
Gotcha.
But if you come to a part that you're unsure about, um
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember if I've sent you an email or not, but I have a booking link. The only reason why I'm hesitant is that I am traveling quite a bit. So as of this weekend, I fly to Africa. And then when I come back from Africa, I'm flying to New Orleans for another conference. And then I basically am home a day and then I fly
Mm-hmm.
to Pittsburgh. And so I've got a bunch of back-to-back trips
Gotcha.
in the
Gotcha.
next
Gotcha.
couple of
Gotcha.
weeks. So I'm worried that we might not be able to connect. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I'm checking my emails through all those things, but to actually do a meeting. So I would say start it, and then if you run into anything, then let's see if we can connect, and I can help walk you through the rest of it.
Sounds so perfect. Sounds perfect. Thank you. And then
You're
be safe.
welcome.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a question here. I missed the last session, but we'll go over with the recording. Is the GRE required for the MSCS? I actually did not go to that program information session. So I am not sure if they've added it back for the 26th season. Mohammed, so I have your email address. I will make a note right now. I will send a message to the program and ask them. Can you just really quickly put it to the chat here? Are you looking for fall 26 or spring 26? Okay, spring 26. Okay, I will find out that answer and then send you an email. What's the deadline for applying for fall 26? It depends. I don't know. Yes, of course, you're welcome. I don't know if you're applying for the master's or PhD. Master's is December 1st, PhD is March 15th. However, for the master's, technically we do a rolling admissions, which means that basically you can apply to the master's program anytime before August 1st. So if you apply in July to the master's program, you can still be accepted. However, there's an application late fee, so of $75. So if you apply after March 15th, you'll be assessed a late fee of $75. Okay, thank you so much for asking about, okay, for letting us know. Okay, so it looks like they're in talks with OG, which is our Office of Graduate Education, to waive the GRE for 2026. And they're looking to confirm in a week. That's right now, they had suspended it. It is something that they're looking to get rid of altogether, but unfortunately, it is a process. It's not a quick turnaround. Yeah. Any other questions I can help answer for you guys before we go? Again, I want to thank you so much for coming out today and continuing. There's so many familiar names I see on here, so thank you guys for supporting this graduate virtual showcase. And then we look forward to seeing you the rest of the week. If there are no other questions, I will let you go. Have a great rest of your morning.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Is
Bye-bye.
there any possibility that you can drop me the PDF that we have been going through? The
Yeah.
PDF.
So,
Thank you.
guys, if you want the PDFs, you got to send me an email.
Oh yeah, for
And
sure.
I'm
I will.
happy to respond back to the email with the PDFs.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
awesome. All right. Thanks. Take care, everyone. Bye.